Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today, we're going to go over the VRT330 juicer. Now, you may have seen my other juicing videos on YouTube where I actually do juice with this juicer. So, this juicer does actually come with two screens. And let me go ahead and pull this apart really quick. So, it's really easy. You just undo the top, and this whole assembly pulls out with the auger. And then you get basically a juicing screen you'll see here that has small holes. And then with it, you'll get another screen, or another piece, and this actually has larger holes. So actually over in Asia, they use this screen with the larger holes more because actually in Asia, they drink pulpier juice. Now there may be something to that. You know, if there is more pulp and fiber in the juice won't oxidize as fast. So if you're juicing, and getting less fiber in the juice may oxidize faster, but it's also going to digest better. So you get to choose with the Omega VRT330 juicer if you want more pulp or less pulp. The thing that you're not seeing here that's not included with this juicer is actually the blank plate, which is included in a lot of single auger juicers. So many single auger juicers actually only have the small hole screen and then a blank plate, which is basically, it's just all, instead of holes, it's just a solid blank piece. So this juicer does not have this option, which is something that's very regretful, I think. I wish it really did. But the thing is, I've gotten many people asking me the question, well, hey John, will it still work if you try to just, use this as a blank? And the answer is yes. I've definitely tried it. I did it with macadamia nuts, and I put macadamia nuts, and usually if you put macadamia nuts through a juicer with the blank plate, you'll get basically like a macadamia nut butter, because it'll just homogenize and break up all the nuts into a really small piece and make it like into butter. So what happens is, the fibrous butter part will come out actually where the pulp usually comes out. And actually where the screen is, it'll eject like the fine particles. So it'll be like a really fluffy, creamy butter. It's really light and fluffy. It's so amazing. So yes, you can do it. And I'm going to show you actually right now. I don't have macadamia nuts today with me, but I do have some Brazil nuts, which also have a higher fat content. Some nuts, if they're not high enough fat content, may just turn into a powder. And we're going to check it out and see how the Brazil nuts are. The other thing we're going to try today is sesame seeds. So I do need to say before you do this actually, because this is not, if you do break the machine doing something that's not what its intended use is, it's probably not going to be covered by warranty. So I want you to know that in advance. But what I found is that to do this the best, you're going to want to take out this little piece on the bottom. And this piece on the bottom basically keeps the pulp in there to keep it dry, to get the pulp really dry and get the most juice out of your produce. But see, now we're not going to be juicing, so this is actually going to be a real big hindrance. So we're going to take that piece out, put this back on, and what we're going to do is we're actually just going to put the screen in. We're not going to put the automatic wiping blade because we will not need it because, we're not using it for juicing. So we're going to line up the dots. There's two red dots. You're going to have to line up. We're going to put in the auger, and this auger is solid. It's really hard. Put it right in place, and then we're going to put the top on. Locks into place there. Turn it on, and let's make some Brazil nut butter. So I have Brazil nuts. We're just gonna dump them in. You don't want to feed them in too fast. A little bit at a time. You don't want to overload the juicer. And let's see what we get. So you can see here, this is really cool. We're getting like Brazil nut flour. It's really thin. It's kind of sticking together a little bit. Oh, we fed in too many and it backed up. So then we gotta like reverse and keep going. And you might have to do this a couple times if you feed it back in because, you need to really feed these nuts in slowly. So there we go. It worked through it. So now we're getting basically Brazil nut flour out of this. It's sticking together a little bit. But now this is really exciting, man. Oh, my God. This is going to be so good. So we're going to stop doing the Brazil nuts right now. And to access the butter, you're going to actually need to take apart the machine. So we're going to take apart the machine here. And you want to have a spatula handy. I have a silicone spatula here. And you can see right here, down left in the tray where the juice would come out, I mean, this is Brazil nut butter. Man, that's so rich and creamy. Wow. What you could do is mix that Brazil nut butter with the pulp, and then it'll be all mixed together and be a whole food. This is more of the fiber. This is more of the fat. You could actually almost see the oil coming off, and actually if I let this sit overnight, I bet you the oil would rise to the top. So that's really good. Let's go ahead and mix that up. actually with the pulp here. So yeah, it was what I would do is I would just mix it up kind of like this. So you'd have a whole food, unless you wanted to use it for some culinary use, and you could use the fiber in a recipe, and you could also use the the thin butter. You know, it's really rich and creamy in a recipe. But you know, if you mix it all together, you know, you're gonna get the real butter like you'd buy in the store. You know, so you can see that's you know, getting together really nice, coming together really nice, just like a Brazil nut butter you'd buy in the store. But I actually haven't seen Brazil nut butter for sale too many times. But yeah, so this is a nice butter here now, you know, and you could make it thin or thick. So you have the option on this juicer. You could add in, you know, a lot of the cream stuff here, or a little. So yeah, so I have also used it with macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts also have a higher fat content than most other nuts. And the other thing I really like to eat in my diet is actually sesame seeds. So let's do a really quick cleaning here. So I'll take my spatula and just basically spatula out all the nut butter that's inside the screen and try to get most of it off. Get it back in the bowl there. And we'll set the juicer back up. We're going to set the juicer back up for juicing, or trying to make sesame seed butter, or tahini. Alright, so this is John Kohler, just finished making the Brazil nut butter. So I added basically the cream that came off where the juice would normally come off, and the fiber that came out where the pulp would normally come out, and I have a nice butter here. So once again, you could add most of the fiber, a little bit of the fiber to basically the cream that comes out, and you're going to have a nice butter. So the next thing we're going to try to juice here, or try to process here, is sesame seeds. So once again, we turn the machine on, and we're going to feed in sesame seeds a little bit at a time. Now, you know, sesame seeds are very small, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this works. To see if this machine is able to process the sesame seeds into like a tahini-like butter. So we'll pour a bunch in here. And you could kind of see coming out of the screen there, you know, although we're getting a lot of fiber coming out, you know, we're getting definitely some nice butter coming out of the screen there. So, I mean, this isn't working quite as nice as the Brazil nuts, but there's a reason for that. That's because sesame seeds maybe not quite as high in oil content. So, you know, the more oil content, higher oil content nuts and seeds will probably work a little bit better. So let's go ahead and stop that. And you can see here, this is pretty much, you know, it's you know, pretty soft. It's pretty powdery. And we'll go ahead and open the machine up, and we'll see what we got. So you can see here, stuck on the screen here is basically the tahini. Man, that's really, it's like, it's really rich. It's just like oil, and like it's more creamy than any tahini you've ever bought. But what I'd like to do is actually take it and mix it back in to the fiber that came out. And if we do this right, might work, might not. It's going to come out more like the tahini in the store. But this is really not working that well. So, I mean, once again, this model juicer is not specifically designed to do this. And doing this may void your warranty. So do this at your own risk. I can tell you here that it's not necessarily working too well on the tahini. But did work with macadamia nuts and Brazil nuts. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up. We'll be back in a minute, and we'll show you some other tasks that you would normally do with a blank plate in the Omega VERT juicer using the juicing screen.